So my first question really is, how would you guys describe your sound? Like, I know I struggled when I was doing the review a little bit.
I guess it's a mix of different genres for sure. Because I like a lot of punk
Mm.
and guitar based, like riff guitars. There's not a lot of solos in Death and Gloria songs, mostly because I never bothered to learn any. Because I'm not a noodler on the guitar. I'm more in the Rammstein, let's play a good riff kind of
Yeah,
idea, I
yeah,
think.
good.
So there's a little bit of prog, there's a little bit of well, I guess it's heavy
Mm.
rock, light metal, probably. It's a bit poppy and it's a bit proggy at the same time.
Mm. Yeah, that sounds
So I
pretty
don't
close.
know. I don't know.
um, so how's the tour going with Ward 16? It was obviously great when we saw you.
It's been really good. It's been really good fun. Ward 16 are uh, a unique bunch of lunatics for sure. They've been super, super kind to us by taking us under their wing because we're a small band compared to the mighty, mighty juggernaut that is Ward 16. And it's been a lot of fun. The first two shows for me were very stressful just because it was just trying to get the band together and stuff. Because
Yeah.
I mean, Death and Glory is essentially a one human project. The guys on stage with me are session.
Okay.
Uh, and, as much as I'd love them to be in the band with me, they've all got their own projects and I
Mm.
want to do my thing. So, yeah, so we don't always have the same drummer, but Imran has been with us for since since the second album.
Okay.
But I had been touring the whole thing by myself for 4 years before lockdown happened.
Oh wow.
And then the band is really new on this tour. We did do the album launch with the band. But it's basically touring with the band is new to this Ward tour, and
Mm.
the first two shows was like getting all the gremlins out of the system, and then the second leg was just a lot better, and now this new leg that kicks off on Thursday,
Mm.
and goes to like Norwich, London, Bristol, and Cardiff over the Easter weekend is just gonna be it's all in now. It's all like slotting together really well. So between all of our props and lights and all of Ward's props and lights, there's an awful lot of props and lights. Basically,
Yeah.
it's a full theater stage show by two bands. I mean, I've been booked to play theaters and I play a lot of Comic Cons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I play like theater stages as well as rock band stages. So it's just interesting having two bands that have these two very narrative driven rock
Mm.
shows.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
they're like the perfect headliner for us. I think it's a really good match
Mm.
between our story and their story. Because if you're into narrative rock music, you're gonna like both stories. They're still very different,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
the music is in the same ballpark, I'd say.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, yeah, close enough, I'd say.
yeah,
Mm.
so yeah, people will enjoy both of them. I would reckon. I'd
Mm.
reckon.
So what inspired the storyline? Because obviously you've done the two EPs, right? That follow on from one another. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah.
they're not the same story. So it's not
Mm.
like volume one and volume two. So they're complete sci-fi stories from start to finish.
Okay.
And I kill off humanity completely in every story. So it's literally not one human stays alive at the end. So we are exploring the inglorious ways in which humanity will reach its death. There you go.
Yeah.
So what inspired that was I had been trying to start a band for the guts of 20 years, just like, trying to find people to play with and to like write stuff with and all the rest. And then after the last incarnation of my band fell apart, I just went, I'll just do it alone. I'm just going to do it alone. I'll do it
Yeah.
myself. So I knew like the things that people really want is some sort of stage show. And people, I think, there may be other people who disagree with this, but having a girl singing and playing guitar is a main feature, is a high
Mm.
feature, and is quite a main feature. So I thought I can do those two things myself, but I just need something else on stage with me for the performance side because watching one person play guitar and sing down a microphone is not going to fill a stage, especially when I'm up against, I want to play with rock bands. So I thought I need something on stage with me. And I thought let's get some animations. So how do we get to animations? Well, why don't we do a comic book and we then have a story? And then I basically, within an hour of thinking about it, thought, right, so Death Ingloria is going to have a comic per album. I'm going to animate those comics into music videos, and every gig will tell the story of one of the comics. And we do mix and match the songs between the comics, but on this tour we are telling the second comic story. And I actually don't call them EPs, I call them albums, because they are like there's pages in the comic book which are additional to the story. So it's not a full album just by listening to the music. You have to read the comic book as well.
Yeah.
I call them albums. I know they're technically EPs. Well, I think the first one is 7 songs, so it technically is a mini album.
Yeah.
So that's how that happened, and that was actually the easiest way for me to fill a stage with all the stuff that I wanted to do. So I built this custom projection screen, round projection screen, which can change size depending on what size of stage we're on. And I sewed that together, and I basically invented it. Essentially, I stole somebody else. I didn't steal. I borrowed somebody else's idea and made it work better for me.
Nice. And
I think it's the only one in the world. I think.
I've definitely never seen anything like that before.
No. And I'm sure, like, the production companies, they wouldn't make the screen that I've got, because they just make a big steel round frame and put material on it. Like, it's not something, the way I built this is not something a production company would build, because it makes 0 sense. But if you're in a small touring band and you have like this much space in your van to get one more thing in, then it makes perfect sense. Because it like folds down to that length. Yeah, it fits inside a bag that's that length. So
definitely handy to get in a car then.
Yeah. So luckily we've got a minivan, but that's 3 people, and if the drum kit's coming,
exactly.
Forget about it. Just forget about it. It's
So what inspired you to be slightly more of a kind of concept artist then? Is it just because you're into the kind of, the comic book-esque storylines and stuff like that, or?
I'm actually like, what's the word? Like, comic book stock child. So when I was a kid, my mom used to write for 2000 AD, and she wrote for Judge Dredd and had her own. At one point, she had 2 different comic series running in 2000 AD at the same time.
Wow.
And so we used to go to conferences. We used to go to Comic Cons. We used to go to them. And I used to be this little kid running in between all the chairs and like hiding underneath the table while my mum was on a panel and stuff like that. So when it came to the idea, like, how am I going to tell a story? Because I want a story to be on stage. Like, comics was the thing that came most easily, because I didn't know anything about videography then. I've learned videography and live streaming over lockdown, but before that, I didn't know anything. So I've had to employ a lot of freelancers to try and get, any kind of like live action story stuff. And I have tried live action videos, and they're so expensive. And if the edit's not right, it's just not worth it. So I didn't actually like some of the live action videos that we did. So I just went back to the comics. That's it. Just stick to, and if I ever deviate, when I deviate away from the mission statement, essentially, everything gets hard and expensive, and I get miserable. So I'm just like, we create music, comics, we animate those comics into music videos, and then we project that story on stage as an animated thing. I'm happy. It takes away so much pain and misery and out of my life. That's their mission statement. All the stories, every human has to die at the end of it. I'm actually going to make sure that we go into space for the next one, because we are a sci-fi based project. I say we, it's the royal we, it's me. So it is, Death Ingloria is definitely a sci-fi based project. And I think if we're not in space, and not obviously in space, then it kind of brings us back down into normality. So the first album, the first story is based in space, in a far future reality for the humans. And then the second one is a near future, where it's still kind of like normal life that we have today, but it's in a slightly futuristic environment.
Yeah.
But there's no space in it. So I want to take humans off planet, but yeah. Anyway, so there you go.
Well, that was going to be my next question, actually. Are you working, obviously, you've said you're kind of working on new material. Is it going well? Is it getting close to at least being written, or?
Yeah, so we only released this second album in August, so it's not even a year old. So that'll be touring until well into next year. I'm 6 demos down onto the new album, and I would like the new album to be a full album. So we're probably going for 12 songs, of which we've got 6. And I would like it to be more of a graphic novel, like starting to encroach into graphic novel rather than just. I think like the first comic is 7 pages and the second comic is 12. So I'd like to get a bit more novelist like in there, and probably like really explore the theater aspect of it a lot more, because we do have actors involved in the second version, because we've got a voice actor who does all the animation voices for us, and that's great. But we originally had an idea of having like a projection mapped theater production where the actor would be on stage and then I'd be playing in and around the actor acting out the stuff. So I think for the third one we might well go into a wee bit more theater production, maybe like, because it's hard, because if you're touring like small venues you can't bring it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I thought, no, let me rephrase that. I originally thought you could not bring a theater production into a small venue. And then we toured with Ward 16 and suddenly, no, you can do whatever you want in a small venue. More the merrier. But I think it'll be written more like it could be taken on as like, no, I don't want to say it's musical theater. It's not, because that gives you connotations of something it's not. And it's not a rock opera either. It's a modern metal band that just does a lot of animation and theater on stage.
Sounds good.
So I've built this, like I've built staging the whole way through this. So I've built my own mic stands from stuff that I've found on Amazon, essentially. And then very recently, one of our fans on Twitch 3D printed some mic stand holders for us, which are amazing. So, and there's another thing that's just been invented that didn't exist before Death Ingloria, and we now have these brand new for 3D printed mic stands holders. So if you're interested in all of that, you'll have to come and see them at the show. It's good. A lot.
So another slightly weirder question. How do you come up with some of your ideas for merch? Like, I have never seen a band sell hot sauce before.
Right. So we actually have more merch that still has to go online, but I do a flight suit, for example, which is a Death Ingloria flight suit. But we're getting into summer now, so I'm gonna like hold off releasing that until the autumn, because really nobody wants to be wearing a boiler suit over the summer. I don't think that's gonna sell very well. So we'll hold off on that. The hot sauce, it literally came about because we have a contact, and I have a contact who makes hot sauce. So the storyline of that is years ago I was in high school, and I was walking down the street past my house, kind of a thing, and I heard this bang, and I turned around and I saw this motorcycle with 2 people on it kind of go on its side and then go into a wall of a house. So I ran back up, and it was actually a girl that I was in school with and her boyfriend. So I helped them pick themselves back up and phoned the ambulance and all that for them. And I was like, I'll look after the bike, but they had someone come and pick it up. So I just sat with them and waited till the ambulance came and stuff. And the fella who was on that bike is the hot sauce maker, and we've just been friends ever since. And he's a big fan of the band.
Cool.
So when it came up, his company, Rockadoodle Doo Belfast, did a charity hot sauce for Snow Patrol. And then he was a big fan, and I was like, so what's the chances of us getting a hot sauce? And then he like thought about it for about 3 seconds and was like, I'll just get you a hot sauce, don't worry about it.
Cool.
So it's called Death Ingloria. Death Ingloria is the range of hot sauces, and this particular one is we use it as a weapon, which is the name of the first single off the album. And Death Ingloria was something that was thought up by one of our fans on Twitch, and so we just named it Death Ingloria because it felt like a good thing to just call it.
Yeah.
So we don't deliver it, unfortunately, because it never lasts. If you post a bottle of hot sauce out, it never gets where it needs to be. So it's only available from Rockadoodle Belfast directly because they're set up to send stuff like that.
Okay.
Or at our shows. You can buy it at our shows, and that's it. That's it. Yeah.
So obviously now you've kind of toured a bit this year and stuff. I imagine you got a bit done last year as well. How would you say the state of the music industry is at the minute?
I am in no place to tell people, or even I don't know. I come out of I sit in this room in my little lab here on my space station, and I come out to play shows when people ask me to, and I don't know is the answer. I don't know if it's in a healthier state now that we've shaken the trees essentially, and like anyone who wasn't in it for the long haul has fallen out, I guess, and then a whole new lot of blood has come in. I would imagine that's happened. All I know, I work also at Brixton and Shepherd's Bush in the Forum in London.
Oh yeah.
And audiences aren't really turning up on if the show has been pre-sold, it's rescheduled is what I'm trying to say, then loads of people don't turn up to the new date, which is causing hell for
I can imagine, yeah.
merch in the bars and all the rest, and people aren't buying in advance. But I think people are turning up though, because I think there's been a couple of times when the ticket sales have been bad, but then the room's been quite full. So I think people just turn up rather than buy stuff in advance now.
Yeah.
But whether that's good or bad or indifferent, I could not tell you. It's not. It's above my pay grade. I just do this.
Self and play, and yeah.
Don't know.
And finally, to kind of line it up a bit, have you got a dream tour lineup you'd want to do? I know obviously you've been enjoying it with Ward, but is there anyone a little bit bigger or anyone you'd kind of want to shout out to bring along with you?
So this band would not exist without Coheed and Cambria. I mean, I don't know if you've ever heard Coheed and Cambria, and they have comics that go along with their stories as well. I just saw what they did. I've seen them 19 times. It's ridiculous. I used to own the handbag. I had everything. I have everything. And so I'd love to support them. I mean, that would be the absolute dream come true, would be to support Coheed and Cambria. Please. I think Claudio has been given our first album because we had a friend that was in his vicinity once hand over the stuff. So I think they've had it, but maybe not the second one. But I'm not we have to build up to that. We're not there, and not by having session musicians, it makes it a lot more difficult and time consuming to get there, so like I've toured horrendously a load. I've toured everything with other bands. I've worked as a tour manager and backline tech over the years. So I've done all the toilet tours in the UK, pretty much every single venue in the UK. I've taken someone into all of them, and then done all the way up to like large festivals with bands and all the rest. And now I realize, I know that we're just starting from the bottom again. So we're doing all these like small venues, and then just trying to work our way up. And we're just not, I don't think we're exactly ready for that kind of thing, but that's what I'm aiming for, is supporting Coheed and Cambria.
That'll be cool.
Like one step at a time.
Yeah.
However, if you want to book us, we will play. And we'll do the best show ever, for sure. I guess I shouldn't say stuff like that. I should just be like, yeah, big ego, Johnny.
We're ready. We can do it.
Yeah, I think there needs to, it's kind of a toss-up. Do you become this egomaniac who's just like, yeah, we're great and that's it? Or are you actually a realist? There's so much of your mental health is tied into this whole band. Like, bands are not just, it's just like some people, obviously it's just a hobby, but most of the musicians I know who take it seriously, you can't, you have to like tell yourself something that will actually happen. Like, it's okay to aim for the stars, but just remember, if you get halfway up there, you will suffocate to death because there's no air. So you have to make sure that your shuttle has air in it before you get up there. I guess that's the best analogy I could think of.
That's a good,
the whole music industry.
Good way of looking at it.
We will be going to Mars. We are still building the shuttle. That's basically it. But if somebody wants to come along and pay for that shuttle, hey, we'll do it.
Exactly.
You know? We're up for that. But at the moment, we're building the shuttle piece by piece. We're 3D printing our own parts. You know, we've just probably got the paintwork sorted out, and that's about it. It's all the inner workings that still have to go. You know, because I would love to be rehearsing every single day with a full band. That would be amazing. But there's no money for that, or you know, whatever. So basically, if anyone wants to join my band and wants to rehearse 4 days a week, you know, there is a possibility for that. Just come on down. Yeah. Basically, we'll take on anybody. No, I'm joking. I'm very picky about who I work with. And that's another reason for using session guys. It's just because, you know, if they're free, I mean, session guys are just amazing. They're just amazing, you know. Like they do exactly what they say on the tin. And there's an awful lot of freedom for me because the creative input is just me. I don't have, you know, I don't have a board. I don't have to take a vote. I'm just like, this is what's happening. Are you guys in? Here's some money. And they're like, yeah. And then we all come and rock out well.
Yeah.
And the other good thing about having session guys is that I would have, before them, I was just taking, I would play the opening of an envelope and I'd play for free everywhere. And I was just like, yeah, I just want a gig. I just want a gig. And now that I have a massive expense with the band, which is rightfully so, you know, rightfully so. And now I'm like, okay, so we need to pick and choose our shows now because I just can't. I can't just play for free and just play the, you know, I did a show at a festival where I was literally just in the corner of a bar, you know, because they were seeing this solo act, which was just me and my screen. But actually, I sound like a full band even when I'm just me.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a rock band in a can for sure, but you know, I cannot play in a room that doesn't have some kind of atmosphere. As in, I need to be able to turn the lights off. I've got a projector, you know. I can't play in daylight. Can't really play in daylight, although we probably will at some festivals. Obviously we will. But when I'm by myself, like the screen becomes way more necessary. But with a full band, then you can lose the screen in a little tiny bit. But then saying that, some of the shows that we're playing on this run, this next leg, are so small that we can't take the screen with us anyway.
Oh, really?
So my day is working out how I'm going to bring screens with me. So that's what I'm doing after this. Huh?
Sounds like fun.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll have actual monitors this time, I think. Yeah.
Have you got anything else planned after the tour with Ward then? Any kind of festival appearances? Or I know obviously you might not be able to say them all now if you've not been announced, but we are we've got a bunch of stuff going on. Some of it is me singularly because a festival has booked us in Nottingham and they didn't realize that I had a band now, so I'm on their acoustic stage and they're like, oh, you can't have the band. I'm like, all right, okay. So the weekend of the 14th July, I want to say, 14th 15th, I'll be in Liverpool on the 15th of July playing the Liverpool Anime and Gaming Con. Cool.
We hope to be at Hard Rock Hell Sci-Fi Weekender in November.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, their Sci-Fi one. We've been booked on that for 2 years, so I think we're still booked on this one. They haven't confirmed yet, but we were on the poster, so I'm pretty sure we're playing that one. Pardon me, someone is going to the bathroom above us. It's fine. I'm in a basement and the water runs out. We don't need to talk about that. What else we got? We are playing London the week after our next London show with Ward, and I'm not going to talk about that until after the Ward show. So basically, if people are coming to the London show, the Ward show is the better show to see us at. Anyway, so which is Friday the 15th of April. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the big one. That's the big one. It's in the big room. It's, you know, it's the one we've been pushing all of our fan base to come to because we're London based. So if you want to see a really great show, the London show at the Electro Works on the 15th of April is definitely the one to be at. And then we've got Comic Cons and all sorts of stuff. So anything that's available to be ticketed is on our website, which is deathingloria.com. There'll be more dates added soon, for sure. And then in January we do our fan show. So every January we do a show that's just for our fans. So I guess all shows are for your fans, but we take over a small venue and it's basically just us. And we have dinner. We get like snacks in, and we do a custom T-shirt. And it's more just about people who are into us meeting each other. I guess it's a meetup of some description. So that happens in January. So there's always going to be shows on in there somewhere.
Cool.
But the Ward 16 show are all that matter right now.
Yeah,
that's all exactly. That matters. We played MCM Comic Con London last year, and we hope to be back at the May one, but we're not sure yet. Maybe not. Who can say? But if that does happen, it's on the 29th of May. And we're playing Newcastle the night before, so that'll be interesting on how fast we can get back down to London.
Exactly. A bit of an overnight drive.
Yeah, it'll have to be, really. Yeah.